Just noticed this is out, isn't it? I really, really, really need to sort out this room. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Beast Show. Beast. It is Saturday. It is 11 a.m. here in God's country. Kind of, sort of there. I'm the Isle of Man, as you all know. So first show of the Beast Show on the channel. Good morning, sir. Elite Gym Maintenance. For all your gym servicing and maintenance needs, visit Gerard at elitegymmaintenance.com or visit him on Instagram at, I think his handle is I'll come and service you. Probably something like that. Yeah, so it's Saturday. You've probably got all your sweaty sessions, your partner workouts, all your goods all sorted for the morning. I had some really good conversations this morning at the gym. I've coached and then trained. I didn't have my usual PT because my client's away, so an extra hour. So I thought I'd get it in early, and it was it was a good sesh. Did some heavy work. I'm just doing heavy stuff at the moment. As you can tell, I'm absolutely massive. I don't like them birds. They shouldn't be allowed in this area. Bangles. The Bangles. Morning, Trish. How are you, darling? I hope you're well. So had a good sesh. I did some deadlift doubles. My legs are still a little bit fried from earlier in the week. A couple of days ago, I did some Hatfields. But let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something. Well done. I think I listened to that one recently. This is one of the things I want to talk about, right? So the volume trap. I need a better name for it. The volume trap. Oh, the temper trap was that band. What can we call it? The tempo trap. Oh, the tempo trap. There we go. There's a post at some point. There are a lot of people falling into the trap of thinking volume is better recently. And I can't help but think that the influx of Hyrox sessions, I don't even know what a Hyrox session is. If someone could tell me, that would be fantastic. But the influx of Hyrox sessions and Hyrox emphasis has somehow convinced a select number of affiliate members that volume is better. And I've seen it creeping in, not necessarily our gym on the island, but just generally in this ecosystem, in the Instagram world. We're seeing volume creeping in. And I think part of that is the elites can do it and they have to do it. But we aren't elite. And part of the conversation is understanding that you shouldn't be using the elites as your comparative tool for what you should be doing. And I'm going to bring up some posts. I've got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to try and keep it to an hour if I can. But I've been sending myself loads of awesome clips on Instagram. So I'm going to try and get through a load of them. I've never really done that before. I've never really brought up clips and stuff on here from Instagram and done an Instagram show, but been building it up because I've got a theme in my head for this week. And I kind of want to get some thoughts out there around it. But first of all, the week behind us, we've had an incredible week of shows and recordings on the channel, and it's only getting better. Earlier in the week, Jon and I, obviously, amazing show. We talked about everything outside of the gym, outside the box. We've got a theme of British bands as the titles and graphics, which is just fun for me and Jon. Stephen's show yesterday didn't quite go to plan. Carl had a little bit of drama around his microphone, only the best, so he didn't come on. But Steve and I had a little bit of a mass debate on Wednesday evening. And I felt it went really well for both of us. I think we got a lot of discussion. I don't think either of us swayed our position, but I really do think that there's a lot to be talked about, and it's not binary. The answer to what we were talking about isn't binary. Now, I've called this show Cake or Death, and that isn't mine. I can't take credit for that. It's an old Eddie Izzard skit about, I think it was the Spanish Inquisition. I'm trying to remember now, but there was a skit that Eddie Izzard did years and years and years ago in the 90s. And essentially the whole point, it was obviously massively comedic value. However, the whole point of it was binary A or B, black or white options that are just silly. They don't reflect reality a lot. They don't reflect what the real world is like. In today's arena, today's ecosystem, today's media presence, we often get a lot of A or B, black or white, red or blue, yes or no, 1 or 0. And that just isn't reality. So the reason Cake or Death hit home was because I watched the stand up recently, but this week there's been a bit of and you know, from personal perspective, on Wednesday we talked about obesity, people that are obviously holding a lot more fat than other people. What's the reason? What's the concern? How do we get out of it? How do we treat these people? What do we do? How do we get them in the gym? And my concern and my take on the matter is that we've slipped into, or we can, it's quite easy to slip into the idea that it's black or white. They're either lazy or you're not. You're either fixed or you're not. You're either one of us or you're not. You're either healthy or you're not. And that just isn't the case. It isn't reality. And the best demonstration of that is the continuum, the name of this channel. People aren't fixed. They're not static in where they are. And we need to address that. But the biggest question in my mind is, okay, let's accept the fact, even if I accepted the fact that people are lazy or they lack the discipline, right? Let's just, for argument's sake, I don't agree with this, but for argument's sake, let's say that is true. What are you going to do with that information? What are you going to do to convince them that that's not the right way? How are you going to approach these people? Trying to treat them with the same logic that you treat yourself or others that are like you just doesn't equate to productivity or conversion or whatever you like to do. I long ago accepted the fact that people aren't in the same mindset as me. I don't think the way other people do. I'm not an addict. I don't have an addictive personality anywhere in me. I don't have any issues with competitiveness. I'm the least competitive person on planet Earth. And I did find a post earlier that kind of reflected how I feel about myself. Talking to Heidi Kroom, shout out. Big up the Heidi massive. She's not massive. Doing very well. But we had a discussion about the Open, and she asked me about kipping, and this was pretty cool. She asked me about kipping, and she asked me why I don't kip, and do I think that affects my Open results? Of course it affects my Open results. If I'm not training kipping in volume, if I'm not working on that skill year round, if I'm not doing those gymnastics pieces. Oh, here he is. It's the birthday boy. Here we go. Mate. Oh, frozen. Here he is.
Can you hear me?
What?
We're good?
Oh, oh yeah, we can. There we can. Happy birthday, sir. Oh,
Thank you. Well, the brand, not me, but I'm like the Queen.
Yeah.
I have 2 birthdays, but I don't have any pedo children. So that's where similarities end.
Allegedly.
Yeah, well, just look at
you
him.
know,
Though,
he hasn't
you know
been
what I
arrested
mean?
for that. Oh yeah, but he hasn't been arrested on charges of that.
It's mad, isn't it? That whole thing is just crazy.
And do you know what? Right, so you're probably in the same boat as me, right? Because you're a white middle-aged man, right? So sometimes initially, I get like I get put on the back foot when people say comments about like like the whole Epstein thing. Oh, another white, another middle-aged man, and be afraid of men, all that kind of stuff. But now I'm thinking they've got a fucking point. Like it's fucking horrendous. Like all this shit, and like there's this constant stream of like, I totally get it. Why you would try to start to make these assumptions about all these, and the comments like that I've seen about Prince Andrew, about like the royal family and about English and about the British people covering it up and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, although I am British and I'm part of that, I get put on the back foot and I get defensive slightly. And then I'm like, no, you can be patriotic, you can be British, you can be on our side and yet still denounce and fucking say how fucking awful these group of people are. Like initially I'm like, should I defend? No, definitely don't defend this kind of shit. Like it's that initial like kickback, and then I'm like, no, they are correct, they are right. It's just someone that looks a little bit like you is fucking evil. So
patriotism doesn't like sort of like for me it doesn't defend paedophilia. That's where my line is on it. I don't know where.
Yeah,
you know what makes me laugh as well. I've heard this quite a lot. You know, like people wanting to, like you were just talking about binary, everything's either right or wrong and all that. People are like saying this argument that's been made in some of the right-wing media is that we're okay with it as long as it's illegal immigrants committing the because there's a stigma around those and the fact that they, and you know what my first thought was on that was, even though that happens, and when they come to Western civilization, if they display those things that where they're from aren't actually a bad thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's bad in the country they're in, but actually, they're not doing anything wrong by their book and their standards. So it's a weird comparison. Every time I see that made, I'm like, what? Well, actually, technically, it's only wrong here, and it just made me think that, which is a weird take, I know, but you're not getting that with it, like.
Totally get it. If you went to, and I know that there's lines, obviously, like that kind of shit, but like if you a Greek person might come to London and light up a fag or a cigarette in a restaurant, and then they go, "What are you doing? That's illegal." And like, "Oh, I didn't know." Like there's certain rules in different countries that obviously don't go across the lines, but there's certain things that you would hope would kind of be universally accepted, aren't there? But yeah, I know what you mean, and the whole it's got very accusatory a little bit, like on both ends of that spectrum. And we had a really good discussion last night about trying to stay central and trying to constantly drag yourself back to the middle as much as you can, like trying to fight the urge to go one way or the other. That's how I feel my position of politics is. Not that I get involved with politics, but like I constantly try and find myself like, right, why am I thinking this? Why am I being dragged towards the left? Why is that where I kind of agree? And then am I being dragged to the right over a certain issue? And then I'm thinking, well, these are just issues and ideologies and stances. They're not you. They're not, and I don't want to ever be left or right. I want to be me and have values that do they align with my values? And until you know your own values, you can't possibly assign yourself to a club or a distinct kind of group. You can't possibly do that.
And you have to also, don't you? You have to, one, you have to be able to critically think, but also you have to be comfortable being wrong. So I have views on most things, but then my views that I've determined based on information I've consumed or values I hold. And like you said, most of the time, I think they're central, but they just happen to appear maybe right because the left at the moment is quite extreme. But then there are other things when I'm like, no, from the right leaning. And I like when you hear those people speak and they're like, well, I kind of agree with that, but I could never vote for him because I only vote for such and such. I'm like, God, like you're conditioned to stop thinking. And that's society as a whole, isn't it? Don't think, just do. And then like the people that think are sort of, you don't belong to any group. So you piss off both sides eventually, don't you? Because you're like, well, I agree with that, but no, I don't agree with that. And it's like, well, you have to agree with everything or nothing. Like, do you?
Well, mate, think about like a typical school year, right? At school, the outcasts and the outliers are the ones that weren't in the jock group. They weren't in the nerdy group. They weren't in that group. They were kind of like mixing up. They had a friend in here. They went to like piano lessons. They also played football. They did that. They were kind of like in the middle. I was one of those guys. I was never in one of those solid groups, and I never felt the need to defend my stance or anything. I just sort of floated around like a jellyfish a little bit. But again, like and this kind of feeds into that. I have to choose today between a partner workout or 5x3 clean and jerk. I know I need the 5x3, but the partner workouts are so damn fun. I reckon politics is a little bit like that. Like there's certain issues that you know that you need to take a stance on and that you know deep in your heart are right. But then you think, like that group I'm really cool with. So I want to be in with them. So I should probably do what they're doing just so that I stay on track and on side. And again, this is the issue with two-party politics, isn't it, really?
Yeah, 100%. I found it. I follow an account called The Left Bible, just because I try and consume as much from both sides. Because like I said, I am definitely right-leaning and, you know, but so I follow that just for balance. So I'm not stuck in an echo chamber of my own opinions. But then I find myself agreeing with so much of what they say. But then it's weird because on the right, some of the stuff I kind of agree with, some of the stuff I kind of don't, but I'm never really extreme one way or the other. Whereas on with the Left Bible that I follow, I either 1 billion% agree with what they're saying or 1 billion% disagree. It's really weird. But there is, so it just shows that the sides aren't that far apart when you actually become rational. But it's just the extremes that polarize it and push people away and then make you pick. And I think, most people in society probably agree on most things. It's just they don't seem to know how to have a real conversation about the things they disagree on. And then it just fractures and just makes everything like sort of just go to shit. And that's when you get like the polarization that we see today, because it's like they're the enemy. They're not, you know what I mean? They're the enemy just because they think differently to you.
Well, I don't know about you, right? But growing up, and this might be because we were younger and it might be just a different time in politics or whatever, but growing up, I always had this assumption that the right wing, because probably through history and through fascism and through learning and education, I had it in my head that the right wing were the tyrants. They were the ones that told you what to do. They were the ones that you either did what they did or they hated you, right? And I grew up thinking that way, and I felt like the left were like the ones that wanted freer. They wanted everything to be open. They wanted people to get along, whereas the right were the gun-toting, law, disciplinarians and that kind of thing. And when you're a kid, the whole point in being a kid is to break boundaries, to break through like ceilings, to change the world, to be different, to be unique, to try to be different, and to try and show people that you're not the same as everyone else. And that kind of is left leaning, isn't it? And as you get older, you sort of come to the conclusion, do you know what? I need discipline. What we talked about the other day, you need discipline, you need structure, you need routine, you need self-worth, you need assets, you need to own something, you need accountability. And as you get older, you realize that, okay, I can't be both of those things. I can't be the two extremes at the same time. I can't be completely open borders. Everyone's free to do what they want. You don't have to work. You don't have to have discipline. But then on the other side, you do have to in some measures. So I think as you get older, because of that mind shift. But having said that, in the most recent years, so probably since let's draw a line and say in 2020 COVID, it would appear that the most tyrannical, the most like obliteration of your own thought process is the other end of the spectrum nowadays. It's the left side. And I think the kickback from the right, or people on the right hand side, is the fact that they're having a taste of that medicine that used to be on the right hand side. And to be honest, it could be a good thing. It could be a reminder to people on both ends that you don't want that. You don't want people telling you what to do. But then it's human nature. As soon as your team or your club gets in charge, it's like, all right, now we want you to do what we want to do because you did it to us. So we're going to do it back to you. And it's this like pendulum kind of way.
And it's people just not being comfortable with changing their position, isn't it? Because, you know, like up until COVID was when I would consider myself, like they say, red pilled. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? And like, I was like, I used to think it was fascinating that anyone could potentially vote for Donald Trump. Now I think he genuinely saved the fucking world by getting elected. And you know what I mean? But I was happy to be wrong then, and I'm happy to be wrong in the future. But I want to be wrong based on what's real, not on what I just have been conditioned to believe. And I think, I don't know, I think the art of, like I said it, I don't know if I said it when we spoke, the art of knowing anything is accepting you know nothing, isn't it? And being able, that means being able to change. And that's why I hate it when people, like, you know, when they talk about science and apply that logic to science, say, well, the science is settled. Well, no, actually, the very art of science means it can never be settled, otherwise it's not science. And I think that's the same in life. You can never have an absolute opinion or an absolute fact on an ever-changing world in an ever-changing society. You have to be willing to go where it goes, but still, as long as you hold your values, it doesn't matter where that takes you, whether that takes you right or left. If you're being true to you, you'll always be open to being wrong, and you'll always be able to like do what's best. And I think that's where we fall down so much now.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. And the thing is, it's why we love, drawing it back to CrossFit, why we love CrossFit is it's observable, measurable, repeatable. And the whole stance on this entire fucking thing, this entire L1 journal is, if you can prove it wrong, if you've got a better way of doing things, if you know better, please tell us, because we want that. We want a better way. And until you tell us otherwise, we're going to stick to, and this, it's the perfect scientific methodology. We want to test and test and test. And the whole point in a scientist is that they try and they come up with a hypothesis, and they test it and they prove if it's right or wrong. That's the scientific method. It's the way that we develop and we learn. And you think about as an athlete, as in the gym, the way that you get better is the scientific method. It's to test yourself to see if there's gaps or if you're wrong. And then you go away and you work with that theory. And then you retest and then you try again. And anyone that's not doing that isn't hitting the gold standard of progress. That's not how you get better. And science is, the very definition of science is retesting and proving yourself wrong and trying to find a better way. Science is never settled. Like,
can I ask you a question on that then, mate? Do you think then, based on that and based on what we learn and what we feel and the people we're around in CrossFit gyms, do you think that makes us, by definition now then, more right leaning because we value hard work, we value change, we value community, we value society, we value morals and all that kind of stuff? Do you think that by definition in today's world, your average CrossFitter maybe won't start that way, but will over time become that way? Because I think that's definitely moved me further away from the left, the traditional left, when I got into CrossFit, because I started to, like I said before, I used to be lazy at some point, and the more I've valued hard work, the more that naturally puts you maybe just right of center, because the left is a lot more like, oh well, let's look after everyone and give everyone something for free, whereas the right's like work for what you want. So what do you think of that? Because they said Zuckerberg, like the more he trained and immersed himself in the jiu-jitsu community and the MMA, again, it's a similar sort of mentality, isn't it? In a similar sort of community. He started to move from the obscene left that he were when he was censoring people online to a more right.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of ways of talking about this and thinking about it. I think if you take away political parties, then you can have the honest conversation about right and left.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the political parties represent the spectrum of politics. I don't think.
Absolutely not. They're the fucking same. Both ends are the same. They're both the same. When I was talking right and left then, I weren't talking Starmer versus Farage. No. I'm talking actual real life, what we determine the centre to be, and then right and left from there. That both of them fucking morons are basically the same person, just doing the same shit.
They're just wearing a different color tie. Like they're just, it's purely fiscal and money driven, their decisions. Like, so if you take away politicians and politics in terms of like bureaucracy and you know, the establishment and systems, if you purely think about the spectrum of like liberalism going left, and like freedom for all, no one has to work. We you know, everyone gets along. There's no money. There's no, you know, everyone just does what they want. And then obviously there's a spectrum here. It's not just black and white, but like, and you go the other way of right leaning, and everyone works damn hard. Everyone does this. Everyone does that. It's all authoritarian because it works, and it's all driven that way, and it's purely done on merit and that kind of thing. So you go that way. Definitely, CrossFitters, by their very definition, are headed down that route. Because we work for what we're after. We work for what we want. We challenge, we retest, we put in the effort, we make better decisions, we put in the effort, we are accountable, that kind of thing. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do that down if you're left-leaning, because there's many hard-working left-leaning people. But again, I think the other way of thinking about it is, if I head down the route of left-leaning, am I thinking societal, or am I thinking individually? Or if I'm going down the right-hand side, am I thinking societal, or am I thinking individually? Because I think if you head left, effectively, what you're doing, you're putting accountability on society to benefit you. If you're heading right, you're putting accountability on you to benefit society. So because they're polar opposites in that way. So if you go towards the left, you want the whole people to change and the systems to all change to benefit you eventually. Whereas if you head right, you understand that if you change yourself and you work, everyone wins. So and if you base it purely on that, by default, CrossFitters will do that. And any sport, any hard work, any business person, anyone that challenges and accountable to them, and they are working their arse off and they're doing everything like that, by definition, if you purely go by that definition of left and right, you do end up going right if you're a CrossFitter because of that.
Look at like, you know, like people over time, like that have become successful through hard work. The ones that started left generally ended up right, you know, like, and whether they moved or not, Joe Rogan's a good example, Elon Musk, they were never right wing, like, or by today's standard. And now, by definition, they are. And it's that argument again as well. Did the left just go so far left that the centre became right? But I think, the right leaning is much more of a meritocracy. But then, you know, like what you were saying there about people on the left, again, spectrum wise, as opposed to politically wise, is I think that people owe them something a little bit more, and whether that maybe that's the wrong way of phrasing that. They think that everything's for everyone, but it gets phrased as, doesn't it, as I think they own someone. So, you know, back to our chat we had on Wednesday. Do you think then that the side of the argument you were making, I'm not saying you believed it, but it was your argument to sort of straw man and steel man. That's the point of the debate. But would the left be more likely to be, you know, do you think there are many people that value meritocracy that are obese?
Obviously, you have to speak in general terms here.
Completely. Like, it's anecdotal.
I think like, but for whatever reason, for whether it be, like you said, if it's a lack of discipline in comparison to others, if it's trauma, if it's physical, if it's they've lost all their limbs in an accident and they've just given up, and you wouldn't put it against someone if they did, because there's people like that. If if circumstance or just lack of will, let's call it, if that means that you are obese, then I guess then by definition, if you want to talk about like losing body fat and working hard towards that goal of being healthier and having less body fat, yes, those people are less accountable to that standard that we should all want. Like, we should all want to be relatively leaner. Nobody should want to be over 30% body fat. Like, we know that that's not ideal health. We know that it's excess stress through the body. We know that it, you know, that we know that it causes issues later in life. We know that it causes stress through the tendons, ligaments, and bones. We know that you're less active. We know that you're going to sleep worse. We know that you're going to have less opportunities because of it. We know all of that. And so, yes, you aren't being as accountable to that standard of optimal health and productivity and self accountability than someone that is putting in the effort, that is going the extra miles. But there's reasons, there's probably for some people reasons that I don't know about individually with everyone else. And yes, they are probably less accountable to that standard. And that's objective. Like, it's not subjective, that's objective. Like someone that's 600 pounds on a sofa compared to me, who's probably slightly overweight and is going to the gym every day, is going to bed on time, is hydrating, is eating better making better choices when they eat. I'm more accountable towards that gold standard of health than they are. But my position on all of this, and always will be, is that how do we address that? How do we change those? How do we change those people? How do we inform them? How do we educate them? How do we motivate them? How do we instill that discipline? Is it something we can do to them? Is it something, have we tried all options? Is it something that we can do? Maybe they're just destined to never be that way. But I that's why I'm a CrossFit coach. That's why I'm in the health industry. That's why I do my job, because I want to try every way possible to try and convert those people and get them in the gym to make those changes. Because I feel once you're in the CrossFit gyms, and gyms for that matter, once you're in those gyms, once you're in that arena, this changes and you start to see changes and you think, okay, cool. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am. It is on me. Maybe I should be more accountable. But I need to personally find ways to get people into that arena. And
Let me just give you an example, mate, because this week, you know, like you'll see when me and Elliot talked the other day, he was on about his new master's class at the project. They've not called it a master's class, but it's like specifically targeted at older people that haven't moved. So my mum and dad went on Wednesday and went again on Friday. They fucking loved it, right? I've been trying to get them to do more from a fitness point of view for years and years and years, to the point where we've clashed about it. We've fallen out, not fallen out because we don't fall out. We've got a great relationship, but you know, we've had those moments where we've, like, you know, they've been severely overweight, and they've both lost quite a lot of weight over the last, I'd say, 7 months. Just like my dad's been dieting really well and going for walks and stuff like that. And then this class came at the right time. So I said to him, I was expecting a battle. I had a long list of reasons why I thought they should do it. And I went and just went, right, this is what I think. And before I'd even finished my sentence, they're like, yeah, we'll give it a go. And I was like, what the fuck? Couldn't believe it. And then they've absolutely loved it. Like on Friday, they stayed behind in the coffee shop with all the other people that stayed. So not only that, they met some new people, which, you know, as you get older, it's much harder to make new friends and things like that. And there's no better place to make friends than a CrossFit gym. We all know that. But what I would say is they went from no chance, I couldn't even get them to go for regular walks, you know what I mean, to they started to actually take responsibility and lose some weight. So it started with them taking responsibility. So wherever we are on this spectrum of it's their fault, how do we get them in? How do we do this? How do we do that? I go back to the point I consistently made on Wednesday, was until the person decides, you cannot do a thing. Because like I say, I couldn't get them to go for a walk, and they've done 2 CrossFit classes in 3 days. You know what I mean? My dad was on a fucking Echo bike. It blows my mind. It makes me so happy. So happy. I'm so proud of it. That?
What changed 6 months ago, whenever it was, when they started to lose weight? What was it? What did it for them?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I know my mum got some sort of a bit more help with it than my dad did. But then he just stuck to the diet that my mum went on, and then lost as much weight by just dieting. And then I don't know what, I really don't know what the trigger was. Maybe
does your mum do the cooking?
Yeah.
Does your mum?
Yeah.
So in the house, your mum cooks. So the question is then, because your dad probably, out of just sheer laziness, because I'm the same. When Katie goes on a diet, I lose weight because I cannot be bothered to cook. Like, and Katie loves cooking, so she'll cook up a storm and cook these meals and calorie control, and she'll do it all. And I'm like, cool, that's me sorted then. So it takes Katie to shift her mindset and go into that routine to then have a knock-on effect. So I'm guessing from what you said, your dad's probably in the same boat as me. So the question then is, what trigger was it that got your mum to step up and to make that change? There's probably something like her friend got diagnosed with something, or she saw someone in the news that had a story, or it's something triggered that change in her. I doubt she just woke up one day and went, "Yeah, I'm going to eat better now." Like, it's probably something that shifted, and it's really interesting to me. Like, I love these stories because it gives me another chance to find out, like, what triggered that change. Because if we have this litany, if we have like this massive amount of information of what helped different people change their perspective and want to step up and want to have discipline and want to step out of that routine that they had, we can try all of these different things with people, and one of them might stick, one of them might work for these people, and they're the tools that I want to learn. They're the things that I want to be able to give people that then, like you said, allows them for themselves to make that change, because it's usually influenced by something.
I think for them, mate, it was probably influenced, a bit of social proof. I know one of the friends lost some weight, so that helps. Like, well, if they can do it, maybe I can. But also, I think, like, as you know, my dad's 70 this year. My mum's like 67, 68. I think, like, as sad as it is, a lot of their friends are dying. You know, you get into that age, so, you know, sometimes that maybe makes you think, like, fucking hell. Because don't get me wrong, like, the friends that are dying, you know, they're all overweight. You know what I mean? You don't die young unless you've got health issues, and health issues generally stem from chronic disease, which is usually exacerbated by weight gain and excess weight. So I think, like, they probably lost 3 or 4 people within about an 18-month period. Some really close, but some not so close. That probably, maybe it was that. I've never really asked them. I probably will now, because I used to maybe do it the wrong way, because I get frustrated when people don't apply logic. So they'd see those people dying, get really sad, go to the funeral, and I'd be like, "It's going to be you." And the tough love wasn't the way. But again, that master's class being available gave them, because they looked at CrossFit, they've seen Elliot with his shirt off working out in gym, they've seen what I used to do when I was still at home with the machines I had at home, and they're like, well, we can't do that. But they've gone there. Elliot put in the coach that's a bit older, that's got experience with teaching older people, and they fucking loved it. And then my dad said, Elliot said yesterday when I got to the gym, that my dad's got a better air squat than me. Like, awesome.
Amazing. Again, like, if you guys hadn't put on that class, your parents wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So, and this is what Abby, it was a really fucking brilliant moment when I was just stood with my arms on a railing watching the adaptive athletes, and Abby was talking in my ear whilst we were both watching this fucking Ben, right, who's a wheelchair user, he repped out, it must have been a minimum of 30 strict ring muscle ups, unbroken. Right, it just fucking mind blowing, right, off the floor. She said something, and it was really poignant, and it was like this fucking light bulb moment, and it was like, it put me on the back foot initially, because I'm like, you have, and then I'm like, no, I fucking haven't. Like, there probably is a ceiling, there probably is this maximum amount you can do for someone, but have you done that? Have you genuinely hit everything? And by putting on those classes, what Elliot's done is he's held people accountable. He's held those older people to account and said, fucking, we've got a class for you now. Now what's your excuse? Now what are you waiting for? Like, we have hit, so up until those classes come on, by definition, he hadn't done enough for that group of people to hold them accountable. So there's all these mechanisms that, and it's not finger pointing at Elliot. It's not saying you're shit at coaching, you run a bad gym. It's like, awesome. You've got amazing opportunity now to add on more people, to change more people's lives. So it's this shift in, like, in mindset, and you know, the word that gets me is bias, right? Unconscious bias, right? In me, that triggers fuck you. Like, it's like lefty. And then I think, and then Abby explained it to me, and I was like, in this instance, right, it would be Elliot not having a class because he doesn't think it's necessary, because he's thinking from his perspective. But but in this instance, he stepped out of his bias that is his thing that he does. He stepped away and gone, right, I need to add on something here for people that aren't like me, that don't train like normal people. We'll add an over 60s class or masters athlete class. And what do you know? It's fucking worked. Your parents are changing their life because he has stepped out of that unconscious bias and he's gone it. But still, I still get a shiver down my spine when I say that word, because I think of really left-wing people saying stuff about me because I'm a white male. I've still got that in my head that that's what that means. And I'm like, well, no, it doesn't. It just means that, like, it's the bartender only selling the drinks that they drink at their pub. That's unconscious bias. It's only doing what you prefer, but not thinking differently about other groups. It's like, if I start selling Malibu, I'm going to open up a whole new market. I used to drink Malibu, by the way. My drink of choice was Malibu and Dandelion and Burdock. Fuck me.
Fucking hell, fire.
If ever you want a hypo in a nightclub, have that. It's the amount of sugar in that is mental. But no, do you see what I mean though? Like, we if we're putting on these tools and these experiences and these different way of thinking, and that's basically what we've done with High Rocks in the gyms.
Yeah, like, I think maybe as well, mate. Though, do you get into the? I don't know. Like, is there a way to educate affiliate owners? And if they don't think they necessarily want to put these classes on because they might not be scoped for it, do you do it in a way of like, well, your gym's open, you can put them on at a time no one else comes because older people have a much more relaxed schedule. And, you know, you've probably got a coach in there anyway that's just maybe cleaning and wiping down a ski erg.
Yeah.
Actually, it makes business sense to put the class on. So just put it on anyway. You don't have to really do anything. If people come, great. And then when they come, they'll come and obviously. But it's maybe that's the way, because the affiliate owners that maybe don't take as much responsibility as they could are probably the ones that are struggling. And the ones that are struggling are the ones that need more people through the door. So, you know, there you go. So you could push it that way. You know what I mean? Rather than the sort of.
And this is the thing, right? So that's one group. That's the masters group. Then you've got like obese people. Like, there's no reason you can't do a class like just like the over 60s or other people.
Still don't know how you market to them a lot.
No, well, this is the thing. Like, you show people in the ads that look like them, and you show them doing movements that aren't muscle ups and heavy snatch work or necessarily.
You have to do it with a viral hook, though, don't you? So does it start? Are you fat?
Yeah, and this is the thing. Hell. It's how do you do that? And Athena does a really good job about all of this with Scale Nation and the materials that she does in her vlog. Like, she's been doing a blog. She's been doing a blog since 2017, and she's got like 200,000 subscribers to her blog.
That's amazing.
Like, there's a fucking massive market of people that are out there that aren't coming to CrossFit gyms because they feel way out of their depth. They do not want to show up. They don't want to break equipment. They don't want to be seen to be overweight. They don't want their bellies jiggling in front of people that have got abs and all this kind of stuff. They don't feel like it's for them. Oh, Steve's gone. Is he back?
Am I?
You back? Can you hear me?
I thought I was here. I could hear you. Around about bellies jiggling.
We've come over a little queer. Anyway, I'll carry on talking just in case he comes back.
Have I got? No, not here.
But yeah, the stuff that we can put on for these groups, and again, it's going to be a stepping stone. Oh, there he is, kind of.
I didn't
these groups are going to be stepping stones. That we know that we've come to this funny point with CrossFit where we're no longer in a position where we have everyone doing the same thing at the same time, and we don't just have. We don't just have, funny enough, a bit of a reflection. We don't have open borders into our classes. It's not an open border. People can't just walk in and do CrossFit. It's kind of like we need a border. We need to get people into there once we've kind of had the parameters of a foundation or an on-ramp. Or I think a lot of it, like back in the day, we had on-ramp, we had foundations, we have inductions. Over the course of time, it was like, yeah, just come and do a free trial, come and do a free taster, come in. The coach doesn't know that they're a new person. They just come in and they never get seen again. Whereas when you used to have the foundations or on-ramp sessions once a week, where you built up that kind of confidence, those people could ask questions. They didn't feel like they were getting thrown in the deep end. They weren't of a baptism of fire. And the other thing with having Hyrox sessions in is, yes, it gives people kind of like an not easier, but like a less load, less technical route into the gym to start and to get moving. But here's the caveat, with the eventual goal of them then moving into CrossFit, because that is the next step. It is the evolution of the Hyroxer, is to move into CrossFit, because CrossFit for us is the gold standard for health, longevity, for strength, for training, for everything. It's just, we understand that and we know that. But are you doing enough as an affiliate owner to convert those people and to demonstrate that we want you doing CrossFit?
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. But and this is the thing. Like, I saw this really cool interview. I can't remember his name. Is the Greek, he's black, but he's a Greek NBA player. Do you know what the guy means?
Yanis.
Yeah,
I know he's Yanis, and then it's on Tokopopoulos or something, isn't it?
Yeah. So he was in a press conference recently, and this he hasn't won a title or whatever it is, or
I've seen it. It's not recent. I think it's quite old, but it's just been doing the rounds again. It's fucking brilliant, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and it sums up the state of our industry as well, though. We, like, as a gym owner or as a brand, as CrossFit, we can't be dominating every year. We have to go through this process of trial and error. We're not going to be dominant. Michael Jordan won 6 out of 15 fucking NBA playoffs or finals, whatever they call them. Like, you're not going to be winning it constantly. It's not constant. We have to go through this evolution. It's like artists with music albums. Like, not every single album is going to be a big hitter. Sometimes one of them is going to have one song or another that you like, and then the next album might be an amazing one. We got to go through this process, and we're all small business entrepreneurs that are doing it. We have to trial and error. We try new things. We see what works. We see what doesn't. The very definition, what we talked about, the scientific method. How do we incorporate Hyrox events into our methodology? That's a really cool concept. It's like it's our way to test our aerobic fitness for CrossFitters. It's a brilliant tool, just like weightlifting meets and powerlifting meets are another way to test that top end power that we develop with CrossFit. It's a cool concept, and I would love to know how many CrossFitters out there do both of those ends of the spectrum. How many that do Hyroxes also do powerlifting or weightlifting meets? I would love to know that.
That's going to be a low. That's going to be a low in it.
Yeah, I did it within a 6 weeks. So I did a 6-week cycle for Hyrox, and then 6 weeks later, I did my powerlifting meet.
Yeah, I'd love to. You're right. That would be really interesting, because I think that number's so low, because usually the people that are reasonable at CrossFit but maybe weak as pace, Hyrox, and then the people that are maybe a bit bigger generally are the ones that can shift the most weight, are definitely not going to want to run 8K unless they absolutely have to.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's interesting. That.
But yeah, so what are you doing today for your birthday?
I'm in office, mate. I've got so much to do. I've got a crazy week coming up, which I'm fucking excited for. But it's like the next 10 days are mental. Cause Glasgow for Friday Night Lights on Friday. Yeah, I've got my Defiant Ones competition on Sunday.
Yeah,
and then I move house on Wednesday. So I'm like,
no way.
Yeah, so it's all a bit chaotic, which I fucking love. But yeah, it's I'm like just coming out of the open period, because for Defiant Print, obviously we had loads of gyms coming to us for the open teas and stuff like that, and we shipped the last lot of those out on Friday. So it's kind of give us a bit of breathing space, because me and Danielle have just been like fucking hell in this office, just cranking the the press up and down. So yeah, it's been good, mate, and like buzzing. So today I'm going to work at my leisure. My business partner, who's out traveling across the fucking world while I'm doing all the work, I've got a call with her in the next hour or so. Cool. To just go through a few bits, and then I'm going to chill because I'm competing tomorrow. I sent you them crazy workouts, didn't I?
Yeah, they're different. I'm sure after the workouts you'll be like, makes perfect sense, but when it's written down on paper,
after the workouts, I'm like, I'm not coming next year. I say that every year. They're always mental, and Adam's one of them. He's a really cool guy who runs CrossFit with him. But he's one of them as well that when he explains the workout, it makes less sense than it did before you saw it wrote down. So so I think it always gives an advantage to people at his gym because they're used to sort of maybe understanding what the fuck he's on about better than us. But he's a fucking quality guy. I love him. He's really funny. But yeah,
awesome.
But yeah, mate, I'm gonna jump off now and let you crack on if that's all right, because I need to get back to it. And but
of course. Have an amazing day, sir. Yeah,
I will. And thank you for your video as well. That was fucking funny. Your were good, and Boulder memes were really good as well. Really, two piss-taking ones.
Yeah, I love that.
I said to him, I messaged him after I said, I've been waiting for this all fucking month. I've been waiting for him to jump on me because it is putting yourself out there, and he normally doesn't tolerate that too well, does he?
Well, mate, you've done a good job because it can't be easy putting yourself out there like that, like going against everything that you kind of like feel like being really fucking uncomfortable doing those videos and putting it out there, and knowing damn well that that a certain number of people will look and go, oh, for fuck's sake. But then it works. It fucking works.
And also, mate, I found my way with it. You know, like I said about being wrong and right at the start when we were chatting. Yes. I found a way that the last few I didn't feel as uncomfortable because it's not about being front and center. I love being front and center. It was just the cringe factor. But as I like anything, the more you do something, the more you find. As long as you stick at it, the more you find your way. And I found a way that worked for me. That I actually, towards the end, I was enjoying coming up with the ideas because I felt like they were more me. To the point where I'm going to continue it now. Like maybe try and just get 2 out a week. So I weren't doing any. I had a social media girl, so I'm going to get her to do the more standard stuff, but then I want to be front and center because people have bought into it and like to see what's going on behind the screen door. So yeah, so there we go, mate. I've learned something by being open-minded enough to try it. Who'd have thought it? Eh?
Good, awesome. Well, mate.
Right, well, cheers, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, buddy. Bye. Osty. Oh wow, coming up to an hour. Blimey. What a day. What a day to be alive. I'm getting more stuff done. Fill in this gap up here. On my birthday, actually. So I'm going to maybe do it every year. I'm going to get something done every year. So what else was I going to talk about? I've got a load of things. Now, there's a question. Do we talk about nutrition enough in the modern era of CrossFit gyms? Do affiliates do enough discussion around nutrition? Who knows? Fill a gap on your birthday. Yeah. Winner. Always. So yeah. So sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. I know I fucking bang about a continuum. Do you think the average CrossFit coach knows how to apply the continuum to their athletes, their members? So if you had, you know, like you used to like pin the tail on the donkey, that game. Oh, you had a blindfold on. But imagine that. And if you had like an athlete, had a member at your gym, obviously you wouldn't really want to do this in front of them. But if you as a staff had a continuum on a wall and you had an athlete, do you think the coaches would know where to put them on that continuum? And once you've done that, do you know the tools that you could use to move them along? Do you think they'd be able to do that process? Because that could be a really good way of setting goals with someone, wouldn't it? There's a question, right? I'm gonna clip this. So I'm gonna I might take a couple of takes here, right? Okay, so CrossFit gyms, CrossFit affiliates, CrossFit coaches. Do you use the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum to plot your members' current status and to set goals moving forward? There we go. One take. That was one take. I think I nailed it. I might have to edit it a little while in editing, post editing. But it could be a really amazing tool that is neglected completely. If I'm a coach and I'm sat down and I've got a member who doesn't have goals, doesn't specifically know it, but I can have their data. Can I use the continuum to set them some goals? Can I use it to apply our methodology to adapt what we're doing towards them to move them? Because the ultimate goal of CrossFit, of course, is to move from sickness into wellness and into fitness, which is health and longevity. Boom, part 2, done. I just think it's an interesting concept. Just think in 2 years' time, when we've got the continuum programming available, and that is our method. That's how we do it. We take people and we apply them to the continuum and we plot them on there, and then we set them goals to move them further along. Here are the parameters. Here are the health markers we look at based on measurements of blood pressure, body fat, bone density, triglycerides, HDL cholesterol, glycated hemoglobin or HbA1c, muscle mass, etc. We take them and we look at their performance. And we come up with parameters for moving them along the continuum. And that way we know empirically we have made you a healthier human being. Welcome to the continuum. Part 3, done. Good. Right. I think we've covered it. Now, I've got so many videos that I've sent myself. Right, it must be 50 odd, right? I don't think I'm going to have time to do them now because I've got 2.5 minutes left. But Yoni boy, I reckon I can pull them up tomorrow and we can have a chat about them. We can have a think through. But there we go. So to wrap up, guys, happy birthday to Steve at the Defiant Co. What an amazing man. One word is honest. All the other good traits of Steve come out of there. He's very, very honest. You know where you are, that loyalty, that hard work, that discipline, that honest vibe that you get all comes from that. So happy birthday. And long may it continue for you there. Just a reminder, Coaches Congress tickets for April are live, of course, in Madrid. Looking at flights for that this weekend. EasyJet have got a sale. They've got their 20% off sale on most flights to Spain. So Brits, if you are looking at headed to Madrid, look at the flights now. There's some really good deals on the Friday morning from Gatwick and Manchester going into Madrid for the afternoon. We can hang out on the Friday evening and we can have an amazing time. There's a lot of big hitters there and some really cool technology going on. So Madrid is going to be an amazing event. So have a look on EasyJet at their flights going out. We've got no excuses for price now. Make it a big one. And then obviously we've got Twickenham October, which no giveaways, but October is going to be out of this world. It is not going to be an event that you want to miss. You are going to look back having attended that and think that was my weekend of the year. I don't care if you got married. I don't care if you have a baby. I don't care if you won the lottery. Twickenham Coaches Congress is going to be the weekend of your year. If you are a CrossFit coach or an affiliate owner, get yourself there before tickets sell out, because once it starts advertising what is going to be happening there, tickets will go like that. Get in early, get reserved, get your tickets for Twickenham in October, because you will not want to miss out, whether it's after the event and you go, shit, I wish I was there, or whether or not they sell out of tickets and you can't get there. Honestly, get yourself there early. Get your tickets now at coachescongress.com. Also, head over to fitnessjeans.com. Use code Jake30 to get 30% off. I've had a couple of my clients actually use this, and it has made our training and my programming a lot more refined for them individually. They're able to express their fitness and their health in much better ways, and they're working with nutritionists. I am not a qualified nutritionist. I know nutrition fairly well, but I'm not a qualified nutritionist. I have referred them to nutritionists based off the information and the reports they've got from Pier Paolo from Fitness Jeans. And let me tell you, it is working. Performance is up, aesthetics are better, sleep's better, their performance with the weight training and their aerobic work is better, all based on the fact that we're using this information that we've got from their genetic unique code, and they're applying that data into the real world, and it is working for them. It's made my life as a coach so much easier with these individuals, and those individuals are hitting their goals. So make sure Fitness Jeans, make sure you're heading over and at least having a glance and have a look, and get 30% off with code Jake30. Last but not least, Elite Gym Maintenance, who Gerard was on earlier in the chat. If you are UK based, if you want to prepare yourself for an influx of new members, you need your gym service. You need an Open ready. I think they're fully booked for the Open. However, get yourself over to Elite Gym Maintenance. Have a look at the Instagram account. Contact Gerard. Make sure you are booking him in, because he will do a job at your gym that you are, one, unable and unwilling to do, but he will do it to an amazing standard. An elite standard, one might say. So make sure you're heading over there and getting in contact. Great things coming from him and the team this year. So make sure you're booking him up, because again, he will sell out of his time allowance. So make sure you're getting on. Right. Anyway, go and check out, if you haven't already, go and check out episode 2 of Andy and Gareth. They were hot off a roundtable with the affiliate owners that attended, talking about coaching development. And discussing around that and methods and ways to do that as an affiliate owner and as a head coach, getting your coaches up to a certain standard that you want, the ways that we do that. One of which is obviously attending Coaches Congress, but 2, we've got Farron McKay on the channel this week, coming up Thursday morning. I believe it's Thursday this week. Go and check out the website. Go and subscribe if you haven't already, if you're seeing this as a clip somewhere. And yeah, make sure that you're following and watching that program, because we will be talking and picking up on what Gareth and Andy said in that discussion, and we'll be assisting and helping affiliate owners and head coaches with their coaches development programs, because there's a lot out there. If you are unaware of any of that stuff, there's so much out there. We just need to bring it to the table, need it to bring it to the front, make sure coaches and affiliate owners understand that there is a lot of wealth of knowledge out there. Just need to get out there and see it. So that's the whole point in this channel. Anyway, enjoy your weekend, guys. I am back on tomorrow with the main man, my boy, Johnny Boy. 5 p.m. tomorrow. Hannah Mitu has got her first solo episode tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Hannah has got the 180 project from up north. It's a rehabilitation project, obviously in the north of England, but she's got Lindsay on. You do not want to miss that. It is an incredible company doing amazing things. That is 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. I will post about that and I will get out there, but make sure you're tuning in. Ask those questions, see what good stuff is coming from the project. They've been going for many years now and they do incredible things. It is something that we hope more and more people get to understand and explore and contact and are able to use 180 Project. And we want it to grow. We want it to grow nationwide. So make sure you're tuning in for that. And I will be there in the background with Hannah watching. So have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you tomorrow and have an amazing day. Enjoy the weather and just be fit, healthy, sexy, enjoyable, fun to be around. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.